Which drug would you say has caused the most overall harm in human history? I'm gonna have to disagree with a lot of people and say crack. Crack ravaged the black community and cemented long-lasting stereotypes, created lifelong ghettos, installed a police state that seemingly can't be reeled in. Crack addicts have never had the support that alcohol-opioid addicts do. It was supported by the government, covered up by the government, and neglected by the government. This thread is the perfect example of how people just forget how impactful it was. So, it caused the most harm to me because it absolutely has the least amount of support to rectify the issue. Sugar. We don't classify it as a drug, but it does things to the mind in the same way that traditional drugs do. It makes you want to eat sweet stuff more often and is very addictive in that sense. It causes obesity, which kills millions of people at an earlier age than they normally would live to. It can cause diabetes. It can cause you to eat non-nutritional foods more often, which can make you deficient in the vitamins and minerals that help keep your body running smoothly. It's kind of a subtle drug. Not a drug, but long-term effects of lead should be mentioned here, as the gas industry was aware of the effects and still sold leaded gasoline for 2 generations before making it unleaded. Romans used to drink wine out of lead cups because it made it taste sweeter, so I suppose that somewhat makes it relevant. But there is a big hypothesis that's being proven quietly behind the scenes called the lead crime hypothesis. You should check it out if you want to know more. It's pretty wild. Sugar, unlike opium or alcohol, it has been responsible for absolutely nothing good. Opium was an early sedative for medical treatments, and alcohol made society possible throughout the Middle Ages. Sugar has done nothing except cause health problems and addiction. The amount of deaths caused by some form of processed sugar is more than can be counted. Heart disease, diabetes, tooth decay, and so much more is part of our history because of sugar. The drugs themselves haven't caused the harm. It's the users of them. Even opium, when used correctly, is only a medicine, and alcohol is an antiseptic and even a mild sedative. That I can see absolutely nitrogen monoxide used for, but that's just my opinion is nicotine. I don't know what good it's ever done. And even if it has done some, its users have suffered irreparable harm from it. So of all of them I'd say nicotine. I never really understood why people defend alcohol. When I see someone defending it, it almost sounds like I am not addicted. I swear to me, it is a drug. Same as any kind. It damages the body, affects the mind negatively, and it causes people to get intoxicated. In my opinion, I don't understand why people think it is an exception. I am Muslim. Sing in almost every major Western city, fentanyl is climbing its way up the charts very quickly, particularly for the way it's found its way into the supply of other drugs like cocaine, MDMA, and meth. Opium. For generations and generations, on a personal level, I think alcohol has affected more lives. And there's an argument to be made that more of history has been swayed by alcoholism. But from the opium wars to what's happening today with fentanyl, opium has been a plague on humanity. Alcohol. Yes, there have been other things that have caused a lot of harm in phases. But over time, it's definitely alcohol. It's been so widely used for so long, and causes or contributes to so much violence and so many accidents that involve not only the user, but the people around them. Meth. Pervitin was available without a prescription in Germany starting in 1937. The soldiers of the Third Reich overran most of France spun out of their minds. Con Technology Archive 2013-05 Pilot. Salt the Third Reich kept its soldiers alert with meth 276,429. Meth ice fentanyl destruction in rural communities is visually devastating. There's a large portion of the youngest generation not being raised by their parents. Incredible poverty and heartbreaking health effects that the person using ignores in favor of their doc. Cocaine by a mile, robbery, violence, and overdoses are all secondary to the damage it has caused by being the banker's choice on Wall Street, as its usage fueled the greed that caused the 2008 global economic crisis. Work in a booze store. We have had many conversations after work about how we feel guilty killing people. Some of our customers are super nice, but they're addicts. There are a few I've seen lose fucking feet because they won't stop there to box a weak habit. I seem to recall the East India Company getting up to some serious fuckery. They had their own army that was larger than the British Army and largely based around tea. In all human history, or just recentish history, if it's of all human history, either alcohol or opium. If it's more recentish, and fentanyl, meth, or cocaine. Worst drug is the phones we have in our hands scrolling. We swipe through these things every day of our lives and don't realize what harm it's doing. Acetaminophen is one of the most dangerous according to this report. Acetaminophen paracetamol. Even if you combine all other harmful drugs together and count them as one, they still come in a distant second to the correct answer: alcohol. Opioids freely prescribed as pain management. People knew the danger with opium, but prescribed opioids as pain management was a fucking trick. Weed, but not by being consumed. Everything from using its existence as a catalyst for racism, an excuse to imprison people, and drug wars. Fentanyl or crystal meth. I've been clean almost 3 years now, and trust me, those drugs are the worst. I've lost so many people, it's so sad. Birth control has radically changed things, one of which has had a net negative impact on all, and that's people just sport fucking. Alcohol by a gigantic margin. It's not even close. Alcohol is the worst drug there is, and it's legal and socially acceptable. The only thing safe on drug tests, boys. Out of your goddamn system quick, son. Alcohol. Suck it, potheads, woo. Thalidomide, a morning sickness drug, prescribed to pregnant mothers, caused with horrific defects. Tragic. Well, I can't speak for everyone, but pretty much all the really bad drugs fucked me up for 20+ years. I'm so fucking addicted, especially when it's mixed with other gases and vapors. The bee's knees, yo. Alcohol by a lot, but at the rate that fentanyl is damaging the world, it may catch up in a century or so. Penicillin allowed for the population explosion, ultimately leading to climate change and untold misery. OxyContin, fuck the Sackler family and all the crooked doctors who pushed it so hard on the public. Alcohol. If a dispensary bothers you more than a place that sells liquor, you're probably an idiot. Birth control pill. All the souls waiting for a chance to be born, and it has been taken from them. Look up all the famous musicians that have died and you will see the majority are from alcohol. Caffeine. It's the only drug that is socially acceptable to take every day to function properly. Vicodin. That shit is so addictive, but back then they were handing them out like candy. People sleeping on sugar, which is one of the bad things in alcohol, i.e. the diabetes. Alcohol. But man, fentanyl is trying really hard in the short time it's been around. I'm British, so I'm gonna say caffeine. We sure went out of our way for that shit. Talking about brand name, I would say OxyContin. If in general, I would say opium. Probably birth control. I mean, I'm happy to not have 100 running around. My opinion, meth, acid, crack. Honorable mentions: alcohol, fentanyl, pussy. I was going to say thalidomide, but yeah, alcohol is the better answer. Alcohol causes more social damage than all of the illegal drugs combined. Alcohol. I don't even have to do any research to know it's alcohol. Besides medicines, apparently just because of its ubiquitousness, of a drug that was thought to be safe. Probably thalidomide. Alcohol. The cause and solution of all of life's problems. If we ignore alcohol, then it's almost indisputably opium. All the losers in here saying religion need to go outside. Alcohol by far. But there are many illicit street drugs. 1. Alcohol. 2. Opium. 3. Nicotine, in that order. 3. Antidepressants. Jesus fuck nitrogen monoxide. One knows about it. Alcohol by a fucking country mile. I love alcohol. Alcohol, of course, by a landslide. 2nd, opioids. Alcohol, then opioids, then cocaine, including crack. In terms of sheer statistics, it has to be alcohol.